of the founding
Adams
fathers.
I like
dudes.
Adams from the show. I loved him in that. He was a great Paul Giamatti.
Well, I read his biography. I listened to it. I don't read
As a
anything.
president,
Counts.
Oh, he was not a great president.
not at all.
It shows everybody's got these different kind of strengths. He was a great framer. He was one of the guys.
Yeah.
He did many very important and gutsy things. And he was also the only one of those guys who was not rich. He was a poor farmer. He was his education changed his life. He's like one of the first Americans who had that experience, where he was, had a decent farm, but not much, but he made his brain work, and he excelled and passed that on to his son, who we'll talk about.
He fucking ruled in the revolution.
Yeah.
Adams was the man.
Adams was the man. And because these other guys, fucking Benjamin Franklin was just a giant perverted asshole.
I loved him.
Oh, he was great. And all these guys are great. I'm not judging any of them, but he wasn't. He was of limited use because he was intrigued by America, but he didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He never would have shed any blood or sweat or tears for the country. He just was interested, and he had a huge brain. So he'd lend it when he felt like. Mm-hmm. He was also full of shit, like he was supposedly invented electricity, but some other guy, he saw a guy in his own autobiography.
What?
Hold on a second.
He never
I just watched
faked anything.
Ken Burns on him. I'm pumped on him right now.
Okay, so he saw a guy do the kite.
What?
And he was like, that's cool. And he paid the guy for like the license to the gag. And then he got one of his sons to do it, to go around doing it for money. It was just a thing that he picked up other people's ideas, which is its own, thing.
He also, all of his inventions, he would never patent, which is pretty sick. He was like, all my inventions are for everybody.
Yeah, he was for, what do you call it? Open source.
Open source,
But he did get a little jealous because all of a sudden, because he was the man.
Yeah.
He was the American that everybody loved.
Be frank.
And then Washington became the man.
The general.
Like the French were like, General Washington's the guy. So he was a fame hungry.
Did you ever read his autobiography?
No.
It's amazing because he has no judgment of himself. So he's the only, like a lot of people that write autobiographies, it's kind of careful. But like he tells this story about he was living in London and there was a guy who worked for him, kind of like a half tradesman kind of guy who he befriended. And the guy had a woman he wanted to marry, a maiden, but he didn't have a position and he didn't have his own home yet. So, and his mother didn't want, I don't remember all the logistics, but it was that that he asked Benjamin if he could move his wife into his house so that they could marry. And he said, sure. And he said, and she moved into my home. And then I took it of my pleasure to, to partake of her sexually. And she, spurned my advances, so I threw her out, and that was the end of their marriage. And I never saw him again. He was real upset, and I never saw him again. But both their lives were destroyed. And then in May, I met this other guy. Like he just talks. He did awful things to people, and didn't give a shit.
Yeah, there's some pretty sick quotes about slavery too. That he was like, I am racist. Like he was one of the first, if not the only founding father to like constantly be like, I am bigoted.
Right.
None of them, everyone else was like, this is the law.
Everybody was like, Ben.
Yeah, shut the
This is it's economics.
You're trying to fuck this
it's not
up.
about race.
Like,
he's like,
wrong.
oh, it's totally about race.
Yeah, they were writing the Constitution like, look, our hands are tied. We can't do anything.
They had to break it out.
So he was, when he showed focus, he was of use to like the revolution. And the same with Jefferson. Jefferson was like a depressive fucking freak. And so he would just like leave Washington. Yeah. He would just go like, my wife is dead, whatever bullshit. And he would get on his horse and just leave, because also he was a man of great wealth, and he had his life in Monticello and in Virginia was, we'll get to him, but the point is that Adams was just a doggedly hard-working. He was the only one who worked constantly.
Yeah.
And it was really the three of them in Madison, but he was the guy who did the hardest work to get this shit started.
Yeah.
He also apologized for cursing.
Adams?
In one of his things, he's like, I lament to admit that I sometimes cursed, which I feel shameful about.
Also, when Adams did his did the Constitution of Massachusetts, The Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is like the most liberal document in the world, because Adams was like, he's like, I'm going to get it right. Everything that I couldn't get done in the American Constitution, I'm doing in this. And there's stuff in there about Jews having rights. There's even something about gay people in there. Like he was into like gay rights, Jews.
It's pretty gay back then.
It's pretty gay, pretty Jewish.
It's gay to be a gay Jew.
It's gay to be into Jews.
Yeah.
Dude,
to be into Jewish rights in the 1700s was gay.
Those parliaments
undeniably gay.
Undeniably
crazy
gay.
back then. Like, I don't know, what about Jews? People are like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
It's
what are
like,
you
come
talking
on,
about,
guys.
Jews?
Back then, have a room full of dude in powder wigs being like, boo.
Yeah.
Like,
And the Jews looked exactly they looked the same as they do now. The big black coats,
exact same outfits.
same outfits, same bag.
Hold on, I got what Adams did. While he was in office, he was worried that his logic was another country could just come take this at any moment. So he came up with the Alien and Sedition Act, which meant if you talk shit on the government, we can jail you. So he started arresting journalists. He started
because he was the first liberal who got befuddled by guys that back then it was another Democrat. It was Jefferson.
Yeah,
going like whatever it takes to win.
Yeah,
it's always been like the different parts of American democracy, the different kinds of people, the people who are like, we got to get this right, we got to sell our good ideas and convince people we're right, but then the other guys who are like, we just got to take office, we just need to win, and nerds lose that fight. Adams was the first one-term nerd president. There's a few of them.
Yes, you're exactly right.
Bush the first is another one.
He's a one-term guy. He was from 97 to 01.
Yep.
Let's move to Jefferson.
He's number 3.
That's 01 to 09. He was a 2-term guy. Adams was a Federalist. Washington was obviously independent. Jefferson was a Democratic Republican. He was the first Mr. President. Right when he got in, the French and the British started going to war. So everybody in America was like, fuck England. Also, France just helped us.
Yeah.
Fuck England. Let's join it. And he was
he loved the French. He loved the revolution in French.
Yeah, he did.
The Adams didn't, because it was bloody and horrible.
And he didn't like the French.
He didn't, and Jefferson loved the revolution, and he had all his friends over there. He spent a lot of his life there.
Yeah. But Americans started being like, fuck England. Let's join France in the war. He was the only one with the foresight to be like, we have 40 guys in our military and 3 boats.
Yeah.
Let's shut the fuck up.
Was not.
So he declared neutrality, and everybody called him a pussy. Then England started blocking his like fucking ships. I think he might have been the one who said, we're just not going to trade with either of them. So then the American economy just plummeted. England started just saying, if you're not trading with us, we're just going to confiscate your ships, kidnap all the sailors, make them join the British Navy.
What?
So he was getting punked by England.
You're talking about Jefferson. Well, it's interesting because Adams, what ended his presidency was a fake rumor that Jefferson started, that Adams was trying to start a war with and start a navy and do all this stuff, and it was all fake. But then it ended up kind of haunting Jefferson because the truth about all that ended up fucking him a lot.
Huh.
One thing interesting about Jefferson is because he's so famous for having had a slave and having had like 50,000 slaves, or whatever, not that many. And having had children with his slave, and I don't think he ever even gave her freedom. He didn't free
the kids.
He didn't free a couple. He freed a couple.
Freed 2.
Yeah,
and the rest he kept enslaved until he died. And what was interesting about them?
Damn, he did the ultimate because I said so.
Is so, like, Dad, can I stop being a slave? He's like, no. I said no. They were like white.
Really?
His slave children, the woman that he
Sally.
had kids with, Sally, was like half white, or like was very light skinned.
Yeah, I think her mother was in his family for a long time.
And his dad was fucking like,
yes.
I mean, it was like,
what?
She was kind of a product of his father.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. But it's an interesting thing about him in terms of slavery and American politics is that his first elected position was in the Virginia legislature. He was like a House of Reps guy in Virginia, and the very first thing he ever did as a politician was to propose a bill in the Virginia government to abolish slavery in the state of Virginia.
Hmm.
It's the first thing he did.
Whoa.
Of course, it got shot down, but it was his desire and his dream.
Yeah, because he was big on that with the French Revolution.
Yes,
With
and
Lafayette and
yes, and all of these guys, all of these early guys wanted slavery out, but there was no way the South was going to do it.
Yeah,
and they wanted the Southern because the choice was to have like just 2 countries or 4 countries over here, or have a unified country and just deal with it.
Yeah,
we're going to have slavery, but create a framework.
Yeah,
where in the future, when it becomes possible, when things change, when things get more modern, we can get rid of it in the future.
and I could be wrong, but I think the North had abolished slavery early, like 1806, which is while Jefferson's in office. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
It was around the exact same time as England. In fact, maybe before.
Oh, really?
The North. We were right. Us Northerners, we got it right.
A fun Jefferson story that I like is that when he was in Paris, he had this woman, a girlfriend named something Causeway or something. His wife died when he was pretty young, and she made him promise on her deathbed that he would never have another woman, which is a horrible thing to do
Yeah, fuck,
to
man.
a young man that you're fucking.
Yeah, it's like
not even somebody to take care of the kids they had.
It's like, no, I promise.
Yeah, and no,
Yeah,
but he's
Oh, for sure.
so it was part of the reason that all of it, including Sally Hemings, that his loves were all secret because he was ashamed of every woman that he loved after that.
That's hot.
And so there was a woman in Paris. She was a British painter, and her husband. She was a woman. She was married, but she was a painter, and she fell in love with Thomas Jefferson, and they were very much in love with each other. But then the way they broke up was very funny to me because he wrote her these beautiful letters. She was in love with him. He was in love with her. But then the French, when he was leaving France, they wanted a great portrait of him to put in the National Gallery. And they said to him, you can choose any painter in the world. And he was like, no, I want, a real guy. And his girlfriend was like, why not me? And he's like, baby, come on. I mean,
you're good. You're
good,
good.
but you're not like fucking grown man good. You're not like fucking, I'm not for history.
True. These guys were that's the weirdest thing. How history mind. They were like knowing they were going to get sucked into history, which is crazy to think about.
So here's a good one because we got to speed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he goes over. So Napoleon's in there in France.
Yeah.
Post Revolution. This is the Louisiana Purchase. They sent James Monroe over. That was his bro. He goes to France. They thought they were negotiating the sale of just the port of New Orleans. This is all thanks in part to the fucking Haitian Revolution, which fucked France. Look into the Haitian Revolution. Yeah. It rules. He gets over there. Monroe finds out, they're trying to sell all of the Louisiana. Like, it's from New Orleans to the Rockies to Canada. It's huge. From the Appalachians to the Rockies, basically. And they didn't have time to consult Congress. So Thomas Jefferson just bought it on the spot, which he was like, I abused the fuck out of my power. And that was his whole thing is government should have no power.
Yeah.
He was against any
Well, that's what Jefferson's whole life was like, doing fucked up things and then saying nobody should be able to, like, say slavery. He's like, people that need to stop having slaves. He's fucking a slave, and it's like, somebody's got to put a stop to this.
We got to stop this.
Somebody's got to stop this. Somebody's got to stop fucking these slaves.
Yeah.
Well, Louisiana
I wish it could be me,
got 6
but I
kids.
need to fuck this one right now.
Those arguments must have been crazy. Dude.
All right.
But yeah, that was big because that secured the southern port. Then we had
And Monroe was Secretary of State.
Monroe, yeah.
And then wasn't he the
no, Madison. Madison's next.
Because usually the Secretary of State would end up being president.
Vice president at this point. Although was Jefferson Adams?
Jefferson was Adams's vice president.
Yeah. So that's 2 straight vice presidents. Then we got James Madison. He was a dork.
Yes.
He was a huge dork.
He was a nerd.
He was a frail, nervous. Think Gerbies.
What?
He was Gerbies.
Really?
But this is sick. So basically, he had the first. They said his lady was the first lady, Dolly Madison. That was like really like they would have parties at the White House. They would like try to get.
And also, he was Jefferson's mentor. He was another guy like Adams who was there all the time.
Yeah.
He was like a worker. He kept shit going, and he would write Jefferson and say in France and go, "Can you fucking come home and be president?" And Jefferson would write back and go, "I am just enjoying Paris, and I don't want to do it." And then he would float in and just take the fucking big job. And yeah, Madison gets 4 years, and people are like, dude, you're boring.
No,
America has never liked nerds.
Madison gets 2. Don't
touch me. Don't ever put your fucking hands on me.
I can't touch your
Don't
shoes out of respect.
Fucking hands on me.
I'm gonna grip you up.
God damn it.
Hold on. So Jefferson was shut the fuck up, guys. Shut up, guys.
Sean, get out.
Sean, don't look at me. So Madison takes some of the flack because everybody was calling Jefferson a pussy for not fighting England. So he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it.
What?
So America just declares war on England.
He nerd raged.
He nerd raged on England. England immediately marches down and burns Washington, D.C.
Burns it down.
They burnt the White House immediately.
He spaz cried.
But he spaz cries. He's like, nobody's going to call me gay. But then everybody always acts like we lost 1812 just because they burned that shitty White House.
Yeah.
So first off, Washington, D.C. was a swamp. It was literally a swamp. It was a shithole. No one lived there. War of 1812, we fucked England up. Fort McHenry, Star Spangled Banner, all that shit. Battle of New Orleans, we smashed them.
Battle of New Orleans was what's his name?
Jackson. Yeah.
And they were fighting the Battle of New Orleans. The war had been already over for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the war was already settled.
Yeah, they fought
the
it
treaty was
1815.
signed.
It was in January of
and
1815.
He was still fighting.
Yeah.
Once you get to Jackson, he's incredible.
Wild.
Incredible.
Right. So
first Trump. He was the first Trump.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, America, that's our first war as a country.
Yeah.
So now America's not just colonies.
Because England was just taking pot shots. England would just park a ship outside of like a Baltimore or whatever, and just start heaving fucking fireballs for no reason. Like do you know Hudson, New York? It's a town on the Hudson. It has a weird maritime feeling to it. It looks like Nantucket. And that's because it's all people from Nantucket. It used to be this little whaling village in Nantucket. And in the 1810s, the British would just park a ship and just set houses on fire for fucking fun.
What?
So all the people that lived in that town founded Hudson. And they would go out and whale in the ocean. And then they'd drag a whale up the Hudson River.
Holy shit.
And they would slaughter it and then send it down the river. It was a great way to send whale meat and oil down to here, New York City. Yeah. And that established a hub in New York, an upper New York State. Hudson became a very big, important. And that's where you ever heard of a guy named Legs Diamond? Because Diamond Street was like the first whore street.
It sounded like
Hudson became a place for farmers to bring their herds and get laid and get, just fuck and gamble and have their animals slaughtered and brought down here on boats, and then they go home.
Got paid. Damn.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what was going on. That's how much things like just the one English ship lobbing fireballs changes a ton of things.
Yeah, some
and they finally needed it to stop.
Resulted in some guy getting head. Like, I'm never going to be able to face me wife.
Me wife.
So.
Okay, so now you got...
Now we're kind of unified. That was the first time...
Madison.
The War of 1812, it was a draw. I mean, they signed a treaty after 2 years.
Nothing changed, though.
Nothing changed.
The English stopped harassing us, though.
But we declared war. They came over.
Yeah.
We kind of fucked them up, though. I looked at the casualty numbers. It was like double.
That doesn't matter in the historical
Of course. But everybody always acts like... Because they got over here and they all died of disease kind of immediately. Like, they got fucked up.
It was hard to...
And they were like, we can't afford to fight this while we're fighting the French. Truce. That brings us to Monroe. Monroe was kind of the man. Monroe was the last founding father to be a president. Fought in the Revolutionary War. Was at Valley Forge. He came up with the Monroe Doctrine, which is neutrality. We got the Americas. Nobody fuck with us. Because they were all worried Europe was going to Spain or Europe was going to come back and take South
that was
America.
all the source of all our problems was these other fucking European countries being involved in their wars. So he was the first guy to go,
yeah, we're never going to go get involved in their wars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what they were saying was that's like the most lasting policies of any of the founding fathers was like American neutrality. Europe, you can have your wars. We're staying the fuck out. Obviously, it lasted 100 years. Added Florida. Monroe got Florida from the Spanish.
Nice.
So the reason that happened, though, was because of Jackson. Because Jackson was taking his troops to Florida, and Monroe was sending a guy on a horse, or I don't know if they had telegrams yet, but it'd take him 8 days to say, leave Florida alone. We're trying to negotiate a price. But finally, Monroe decided we don't want Florida anymore. They're asking the Spanish owned it. We can't afford to buy it. I can't justify it. I'm not going to get it through Congress. And Jackson was writing back and saying, I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take it militarily. I'm going to attack them. And Monroe said, no, you may not. I'm the president. You may not do that. And Jackson just ignored him.
Started attacking
and he
him.
did it.
What?
He took Florida, and then he showed up in D.C. and was like, right? That was good, right? And Monroe's like, yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, he's like, but also I bought it.
Good job. Yeah, also I think
He
we
paid for it.
We paid for it, and it was a mess.
While Jackson was like fucking with them, the Spanish were like to Monroe, they were like, yeah, you can buy it.
He just went and killed him.
He was down fighting them, and he was like,
yeah.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna sell it.
There's 2 generals that did that. Him and MacArthur did that too. Just did shit without permission.
Yeah.
And then showed up and said, right, Mr. President, wasn't that the plan
That was
all
pretty
along?
good.
And he was like, yes, it was the plan all along. Whatever you want. Whatever you want.
So you got that, but this is interesting because Monroe was the first part that this is where the slavery issue starts to take real issue because it was the Missouri Compromise. So Missouri was becoming a state; it was another slave state, pro-slavery.
Yeah. So every time they added a slave state, they'd have to add a free slave.
Free one to
really?
make sure it was balanced.
Yeah.
So that's when we added Maine. Missouri got to be a slave state. That's it for him. John Quincy Adams.
Yeah. So John Quincy Adams was Secretary of State. John Quincy Adams had a big role in Florida.
Yeah.
And he had a big role in that compromise. That was a big part. He was a statesman. John Quincy Adams, fucking fascinating guy. I read his biography. The thing about him and his father is that they wrote copious, really long diary entries, so we know a lot about those guys. But he traveled with his father to England. He was like the last link to the Great Revolution. Yeah, because he was with his father wherever he went, and he took him to France. He ended up being a diplomat. He was the first American ambassador to Russia. He lived in St. Petersburg, Russia. And him and his...
Oh, wait, was he the one who helped them kind of revolutionize?
I don't
Or was that before?
remember that.
Okay.
I mean, but he was in Russia way back then, and he'd take like a sleigh to countries that aren't there anymore, like Prussia. And he traveled all over. He traveled more than any like human being back then. Yeah. And he went across the ocean several times. So like something like 12 times back and forth.
Now
amazing guy. Incredible guy.
His opponent was Jackson in this election.
Yeah.
Jackson dominated. He won the popular vote by a greater margin than Reagan beat Carter. It was a landslide victory for him, but Jackson in the Battle of New Orleans came out and said all the guys from Kentucky were being fucking cowards. What? So then when it comes to the Electoral College, the guy counting the votes happened to be like a senator or something from Kentucky.
What?
And I was like, fuck this guy. And he just swung like 10 states. Because back then the Electoral College made perfect sense. Nobody in any state had ever heard of one of these guys. Mm-hmm. There was no news. There was no fucking anything.
Now you needed somebody. Yeah, you needed super delegates.
You needed
to
just get your local guy.
Yeah.
And be like,
you go figure it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was enough for this guy to swing all these dudes in the meetings to be like, dude, Jackson's a fucking dickhead. We need John Quincy Adams. So he swung. I mean, it was
John Quincy Adams was another nerd, one-term nerd.
Yes.
Who just couldn't get, I mean, as a president, he couldn't get, and he got almost nothing done. Partly because Jackson and his people just thwarted every single thing he tried.
The whole country loved Jackson.
Everybody fucking loved that dude.
He was Trump.
So much.
He was Trump.
Imagine if Trump like dueled as much as
Jesus Christ.
Jackson died with
dudes.
something like 12 bullets in his body.
Yeah.
What?
That never left his body. He dueled all the time.
Yeah, let's just go straight to Jackson. Jackson, he's the next president.
He can't not be mentioned, John Quincy.
JQA.
Yeah, fuck John Quincy.
John Quincy Adams, well, after his presidency, he was in Congress forever from Massachusetts. Yeah. He died at his seat in Congress.
Wow.
He died at his desk. He was because his thing, he was a huge abolitionist. He was like the only guy in the Congress willing to be an out and out. The slave states had so much power that they passed a law a gag law that said you can't say the word slavery in Congress.
What?
It used to be there was a thing in Congress back then called petitioning. Anyone could send a petition to their congressperson, and they had to say it. They had to mention it. So, like, you could send a thing to Congress saying, "I want I want retards to be allowed to drive," whatever you would do. I want retarded people to have driver's license.
Yes.
And he would say, he'd have to go, okay, the petition from Shane Gillis, he wants retards to drive.
The honorable.
And everyone would go, I move to table it, and then they just table it. But they passed a law saying you couldn't even mention a petition that said the word slavery, because that's how electrified it was. Like, we don't want anybody. We know you're trying to get rid of slavery. We don't even want you to say. And they passed it. So Quincy Adams would do it, and he would just break the law, and he would just say it over and over again. He would read petitions about slavery, and he would get sent. Then they would all vote, the whole Congress, to censure him for going against the rules, and he got censured over and over again. And he represented the Amistad slaves and got them set free. Yeah, did you know that?
No.
Yeah, he was the slave ship that was taken over by slaves and was grounded in Massachusetts, I think.
So he was saying the S word. He got in trouble.
Yeah,
he got not only in trouble. Those slaves asked him to represent that. He was their lawyer.
What?
Because they were Virginia slave masters who were waiting for. They were Haitian slaves that they were waiting for, that they had paid for. But he found a way it wasn't like a slavery is wrong trial. It was, you guys don't have a receipt trial. It was like, you ain't got the paperwork, go fuck yourselves. So they were free. But he died. He was in the middle of a big impassioned argument. He was yelling, and he had a heart attack, and he died right there with the whole Congress around him,
just watching
because people loved that guy.
Yeah,
he was a great guy. He was the first president or former president to ride on a steamship, and he used to ride on the steamships with a blanket over him, and folks would surround him. All the passengers would surround him, and he would just tell stories. He was a great guy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Man, I didn't know any of that.
There's just a part of me that liked Jackson.
Jackson's great, but I mean,
dickhead.
and again, to me, I look at all these guys, I evaluate them as characters. They're all great, amazing characters. They all did awful things,
of course.
Yeah,
but I mean, Obama fucking bombed, fucking weddings.
Obama.
But yes, Jackson was a crazy but shrewd. A great thing about Jackson was that his inaugural party in the White House.
Yeah,
this is wild.
They
stormed the Capitol.
He invited everybody. That's exactly right.
He
invited everyone. He said anyone that wants can come. No invitation needed. It's the people's house, and the house was crammed with common people getting drunk, stealing shit, and they wouldn't leave. And there's a honor code in the White House. You don't ask someone to leave. You don't ever throw anybody out. So they couldn't get them. Like, days went by where people are shitting on the floor and raiding the fucking pantry and just fucking people and whatever.
What? And
so what they did was they got huge kegs of beer and they put them on the lawn. And they said, "Hey, come out. Let's drink under the stars. Let's have, And they invited them out for beer on the lawn, and they all came outside and they locked doors. That was how he was a people's president.
Yeah,
like
he was the first populist
in his
first guy. Yeah,
first one to appeal to the common person. Yeah. There was an author, English guy. I read his biography of him, and they have one account of an English traveling writer who would write travel logs, and he was in Washington, and he thought, "What is it like? Can you meet the president?" And he just walked. There wasn't a fence around the house.
People just could walk in, and
so he just walked to the front door and he knocked on the door, and a butler came to the door and said hello, and he said, "I'd like to meet the president." And he's like, "Is he expecting you?" He goes, "No." And the butler's like, "All right, well, come in and sit down." And he went in. The guy waited like 20 minutes, and Jackson came out of his office, which was like full of people, and he said, "I'm in a pretty important, like, who are you?"
Yeah.
And he said, "I just wanted to meet you and say hi." And he was like, "All right, can you wait an hour?" And he's like, "Sure." So he went and whatever, fucking signed a thing to kill all the Indians.
Yeah.
And then he came and had sandwiches brought, and he sat with the guy and just talked to him for an hour.
Damn.
Damn.
He also he was the first president, I think, to ride on a train. He took a train. He was the first one to do this, that he went all over the country.
Yeah.
He went up to Maine. Presidents never traveled. He was the first guy to do that. Like, he thought people should see the president. People should have contact with the president.
The Trail of Tears, he flubbed that one.
Yeah, flubbed. He
nailed. He was a bit of a flub. He did do exactly what his goal was.
What he tried to do. He fucking flubbed.
That was a bit of a flub.
He was not. He didn't make mistakes.
I looked it up. I don't know if they had slaves. The fucking dudes on the Trail of Tears, they were like, we got to bring our slaves.
If slaves are available, folks get slaves. That's just the way that goes.
I couldn't believe it.
But when he was
peaceful natives.
That's what the part you don't hear is, like, the Indians are like, you know what he did to us, and what he did to our slaves was even worse.
Our slaves had it real bad on the Trail of Tears.
I mean, tell me about it.
Yeah, but didn't they like share everything with their slaves though? I don't know.
Yeah, they were way better.
They were like real peaceful.
It was egalitarian, dude.
They were some of those good slave owners. The natives.
There's some story from some big chief went to the White House to meet with Jackson, because Jackson was very honest. Yeah. He didn't underhand ever. He didn't play politics. He did horrible things, but he just went ahead and did them. Like, there was a slave revolt during his presidency where they took over a fort. The slaves took over a fort and just said, we just want out. We just want to be taken to the north or Canada or whatever. And so he just got a bunch of cannons and just lit the whole place up. Killed
bombed them.
He didn't fucking care. So some famous, like a name you'd recognize, it wasn't like Sitting Bull, but it was some big, all of the Indians, all the tribes chose this guy to negotiate with Jackson. And he went and talked to Jackson, just the two of them, and he came out crying and said,
"What?
We're in trouble."
Yeah, he says, "We're not. This is gonna go bad. This is gonna go bad." No, he just had his way of thinking about how it was gonna go. He's like, "No, we got to clear these guys out of here."
Also, in line with Trump, he was like, "This is where the term mudslinging starts." Yeah, it was him and John Quincy. Their election or their debates and shit was. He would just talk. They would talk shit. There would be nasty rumors in the papers.
Whatever it took. Yeah. Whatever it took. No, I remember. I have a friend who's a Trump guy who I've known for a long time. I'm not going to say that his name is Nick DiPaolo. But knowing Nick has always given me some insight into the mentality of that kind of guy. Not just Trump, but guys like Jackson. I remember once I was with Nick and a lot of people, and he was and like three Democrats were yelling at him, and he was starting to say crazy fucked up things to them. And at one point I'm like, Nick, you know that's wrong. And he goes, it's 3 against 1. like what do you want me to do? Like, he's in and it gave me and then it brought me back to when I was like 19 and I was friends with Nick, and we were comedians in Boston, and there was a pinball machine we really liked playing at this one club. So we're playing pinball against each other. And when it was my turn, I was starting to beat his score, and he just put his hand over my hand so I couldn't flip. And he just looked at me like this, and I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah, I win. I win. I don't care.
But Jackson, was big too.
Jackson was the first. Yeah, he was a football player. A college football player. Jackson was the first president to go like, fuck you, I'm winning. I'm winning this. I don't care what happens to you. We're gonna
So he also, one of the big things with Jackson, he vetoed more bills than every president before him combined.
Nice.
He hated the banks. He like went to war.
It's crazy that he's on the 20.
Yeah.
It's like a joke because he hated the idea of a central bank. He hated the idea of a treasury. He thought that it should just be folks have their money, use gold, and you trade. And he wanted.
So I think the U.S. bank at the time, I think it was called the United States, like the Bank of the United States, was up for to be renewed. Mm-hmm. And he just happened to be the president, and he vetoed it.
Yeah, and it was a thing you don't veto.
You can't veto it.
No, but
he vetoed it. So then the next guy, we'll get to him, is his vice president, Van Buren. He takes over. Mm-hmm. He takes over a completely destroyed economy because he vetoed the bank.
That's the way it goes. The cool guys. America is made of cowboys and nerds. So you got cowboys who show off and who show what kind of people we are, and then you have nerds who actually get things done. But the cowboys get the credits. Yeah. And then nerds get fucked every time.
He got fucked. His nickname was Van Ruin.
Yes. He had a lot of nicknames. They were like, Old Kinderhook. He was another total nerd, and everybody hated Van Buren. He was like a little fucking
He was supposed to be. I think he was one of those vice presidents that was supposed to be a link, like because Jackson was the man in the South, kind of, or wherever, and they were like, "Let's get this dork to."
He was from Kinderhook, New York.
He was his Pence.
Yeah.
He was Trump's Pence.
Yeah,
he was. The legend is that he was one of the first people to have pamphlets, like a lot of pamphlets, like the press, like the mass press started to get big. So his pamphlet was because he was called Old Kinderhook because he's from Kinderhook, New York. So his thing was OK, and it was a check mark.
Oh, nice.
And that's where people say that OK comes from.
What?
Yeah.
Because it was like his thing was OK with a check mark. That was the point. It was like vote for Old Kinderhook.
That's the thing. That's the thing. When you look into this, that's where all of our shit comes from.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's all of this. All right. Well, we got to speed up because this one's funny. Van Buren sucked, whatever.
Yeah, he's.
Here comes Harrison. He's the next guy. Everybody called him Old Granny because he was too much of a geezer to run. So on his inauguration, he was like, I'm going to prove to everyone how tough I am.
Yeah.
It was freezing cold and raining. He had like an 8,000 word inauguration.
Yeah.
He got pneumonia and died.
He died. He was like a few months.
He died immediately. Like
shortest term. Died.
Damn.
Shortest term.
Didn't have a minute of acting as
trying
president.
to prove he was tough.
Got sick the first day.
Died immediately.
And died a few months later.
What?
Yep.
G.
That brings us to Tyler. He did nothing.
Tyler was
his
general,
party abandoned
right?
him.
No, I'm thinking of Taylor.
He was Harrison's vice president. So Harrison dies. The one thing he did do was set the precedent that the vice president stays as president.
Nice.
So everyone was like, "What? We don't know what to do here. The president's never died. Do you take over as an interim guy until we find a new guy?" And he was like, "No, I'm just the president."
I'm the president.
And enough that his party hated him for that. So his own party abandoned him. They didn't put him up for re-election.
Well, because they thought they should be able to choose another guy.
They wanted to be able to put another
stronger guy.
Yeah. So he stayed. He had no parties supported him. He got nothing done. He was never up for re-election again.
It must have been awkward.
That brings us to our guy, though. This is who I wanted to get to. Polk, dude. Turns out Polk's the man.
Really?
Yeah.
I know nothing about Polk.
No.
He was one term because he was a dark horse out of nowhere, and he promised everybody in his party, I'll only do one term. That way, some of you guys that are good, that are getting ready, you can take over. I promise to do one term. When he was running, his opponent's slogan was, "Who is James K. Polk?" Like, people were talking shit. As soon as he got in, oh, this is good. He was a tiny guy. He was 5'8", which was like...
That's really small.
Yeah, he was 5'8", and when he got in, his wife was the one who came up with, they got to play Hail to the Chief every time you come in a room to give you some respect.
Give him a little, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why that happens.
Nice.
So right away, Polk starts going
But
wild.
it was kind of a joke. It's like if a midget walked in.
Yeah,
Everybody goes, it's just a little guy.
No, Polk's a beast. Immediately, he starts fucking with the British about Oregon. So they have the Oregon Territory out there, which is just beaver hunting. Everybody's, beaver hunting. We're doing a little bit of that in Nash Vegas.
What do you mean?
It means trying to get pussy.
About pussies.
Hunting in Oregon for
They were in Oregon,
pussy
Oregon, pussy hunting. So the British were pussy hunting. The British and Americans were both pussy hunting on the same territory. And Polk was like, nah, we're done with that. And he set the latitude and longitude was 54 and 40. So he came out with the slogan 54 and 40 or fight. He was saying that to the British. He was like, we're going to fuck you guys up.
True.
So he came out with that. And the British.
People were really into
they loved
latitudes
slogans.
and longitudes.
They were.
Back then.
So he called that. And the British were afraid to call his bluff. They were just like, fine, take
They're
it.
like, that slogan is so good.
Yeah, like,
just take it.
Fuck, dude, this guy's
Dude,
nuts.
you came up with the you used the longitude and latitude?
So he takes that territory, which is huge. And then it's not just Oregon, it's Washington, all that.
You know why Oregon is, Portland is called Portland?
I bet you I do.
It was kind of, do you?
No, it's not.
It was going to be Boston.
What?
Because there's two guys. Is it Lewis and Clark?
Yeah.
So one of them is from...
That was Jefferson.
One of them is from Boston, and one of them is from Portland, Maine. And they both wanted to name it after their hometown.
Oh.
And they flipped a coin and named it Portland. And there is a Boston in Oregon. There's a town called Boston, Oregon. Anyway, go on.
So after he gets Oregon,
Yeah.
he's like, all right, it's time for me to get Texas.
Mm-hmm.
He starts fucking with the Mexicans. Like, say they would send troops down just to see if the Mexicans would shoot first. Finally, they did. He
fucking
immediately
lazy Mexicans.
Finally, they shot
so
a bunch
many
of
times
he
to get off their fucking frijoles and fire a shot.
So they go to war.
Here they come again. I don't want to fire.
He
I'm too
fired
busy
the last
drinking
Probably one of them was like-
tequila.
70,000 troops poured in.
Oh no!
So we immediately took California, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Texas.
And
This
then
is
who
all
was the
Polk
general?
in 4 years.
Who was the general that penetrated all the way to Mexico City? This is later, right?
This was the next guy who was Zachary Taylor.
Yeah, Zachary Taylor was
Zachary
the big
Taylor.
Mexican American war
Yeah,
guy.
he was the war hero.
What?
Zachary Taylor was dominating.
So they
but this is-
gathered-
He went into Mexico City, and if you go to in Mexico City, the big thing is Los Niños. These 6, I think it's 4 or 6 kids. So they stormed. They went all the way to Mexico City, and the citadel, the Chapultepec, the palace. The army was so decimated that it was finally just the cadets of the military school were the only ones
Yikes.
defending the capital, and they were just 4 kids firing on the American army is just coming. And they wrapped themselves in Mexican flags and jumped and dove and killed themselves. That was how they ended the war.
awesome.
And the moment is Zachary Taylor's holding one of them, and he's saying they were just kids. Like, he had no idea they were like fucking 12, 15 years old.
Man.
And in Chapultepec, there's 4 big pillars that are still, they're like war heroes.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What did Mexico have back then? Was it like a king or like
A lot
what
of they had what was going on all these years, Napoleon assumed that the South would win the Civil War eventually, that there would be Europe always bet on the South because the South was a aristocratic America. It was about plantations and old families, and that's a European, and they loved Europe in the South. The North was always against Europe and wanting to start something new. So during the Civil War, so Maximilian was just a Habsburg. But the way kings worked back then, there were some royalty factories. So the Habsburg family, who I think were like Flemish or whatever the fuck, they just had like a cousin of a king. They went, Maximilian and his wife, they're like, you guys take Mexico. So Napoleon sent French troops to Mexico and installed Maximilian. But then
Which is what Cinco de Mayo is.
Yes, and then the Mexicans finally overran, because when we lost the Civil War, when we lost the Civil War, I don't know what made me say that. No, when the South lost the Civil War, Napoleon was like, all right, fuck this.
Well,
And
wait,
he just-
Napoleon was gone for this.
Or whoever the French
Yes,
pulled their well, there was like 3 Napoleons.
Oh, true.
right.
I think it was a later Napoleon.
Wow. Yes.
Pulled support,
Yeah.
and Maximilian they beheaded him.
Fuck.
They fed peyote to his wife and sent her home. And there's some little village somewhere in like the Netherlands where they tell you like she's going to come get you, because she would run in the streets. She went insane. She would run the streets screaming. And they tell kids, if you don't get to sleep, because she comes out at night, if you don't go to sleep, she's going to come get
God.
you. So
Yeah,
that's
she
how
must
far
have-
that's how far in Mexico.
Dude, if
I'm
they-
sorry to derail you,
No,
but
that's
so
crazy.
No, that's
so
great.
Zachary, so you were still at Polk
No,
and then Taylor.
Polk, but still. So one thing that was cool was when Polk was instigating this war with Mexico.
You got to cut that part where I say we lost.
No,
You have
that's
to
good.
cut that. I don't
That's
know what
good. You
made me say
corrected it.
that.
Immediately. This is pretty sick. So Polk was up there like, they're fucking with us. They shot at our troops. An old one-term senator from Illinois at the time stood up and said, were we on their territory when we shot him? There was one guy that was opposed to the Mexican-American War, a guy by the name of Abraham Lincoln.
Really?
Abraham Lincoln.
And people were like, hey, shut up, pussy.
Yeah, dude.
We're trying to take Texas. Shut
yeah.
the fuck
He's
up.
like, you guys, were we? And like, shh.
Yeah,
He was like, sorry.
Like, I think this was wrong. They're like- Anyway, that's why Polk's kind of the man. He added 1/3 of the entire United States in a 4-year term.
Damn.
Pretty good. Well, in territory.
I know, but still,
Still, it's like
beast.
those big
Yeah, but you got
states.
Texas and California.
And they were
Pretty
just
good.
That's
sitting on
probably
the
half our population.
good.
True. And they were sitting
I
on the
wish
border.
he hadn't added them, especially Texas.
The
But
troops
again,
are sitting
then
there
we
being like,
wouldn't
Mexico
have
sucks. Mexico fucking
Finally,
sucks.
one of them got just
Go,
popped.
go.
Oh shit! Run! They're pissed.
Yo, Mexico's gay.
again, that was a smashing. America destroyed Mexico. It was mean. It was mean.
Yeah, that's not nice.
Then this is good. Polk, he was working his tail off.
His tail.
He was tired. He was so exhausted when he got done. He went back to Tennessee and just died.
Like right away, right?
Yeah.
He died, yeah.
He was like, that was too much. I should have done
a lot
all
of work. Yep.
Just died. So then comes Zachary Taylor. This is 1849 to 1850. That's a quick term. Old Rough and Ready.
Yeah.
Pretty sick nickname.
Old, dead, and
yeah, he's old. He's about to be dead.
Yeah, he died. I don't remember what he died of.
He was
just being in the 1800s.
Yeah.